Ryan.
Bring the city council meeting to order. The first thing we have tonight is a public hearing regarding the City of Easley operating budget for fiscal year 23-24. And at this point, we have no one signed up to speak on that. So we will move into the agenda items.
Hold on,
First,
Mayor, hold on. Let me switch real quick. Hold on 1 second.
sorry.
Okay, Mayor.
We'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, and I would like to say we lost a good friend last week, is Dr. Bowick, which has been a long-time resident of the city of Easley, a doctor here for years. One of our surgeons, Dr. Gadlock in Bowick's office, for those of you who've been here very long, you'll remember them, great people. If you would keep that family in your prayers, and I will call on Ms. Nancy to do our invocation for the council meeting. She'll keep them in her prayers, and immediately after, if you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for our life, health, and strength. Lord, we ask that you just bless each one that is represented here today. Lord, we ask that you just be in the midst of this meeting and we do your will and what you would have us to do. Lord, we ask that you bless the mayor, council, and the ones that are coming up to speak tonight. Lord, we ask that you just be in the midst and just have a spiritual bond between everyone that is represented here. Lord, we ask that we just do your will. And Lord, we ask that you just have us where we respect each other in our own ways and respect each other as people, as a person. Because, Lord, we know that you would have it no other way. So, Lord, we ask that you just bless us, keep us strength, keep us spiritually bond. Lord, keep us just together as a community as you would have us to be for the city of Easley. Lord, that you've heard their request for the mayor, for the family that is in need for bereavement. And Lord, we ask that you bless them and keep them strong and let them know that you are with them in every step of the way. Lord, this is my prayer. In your son Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, approval of minutes as written. Are there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, they stand as written. Report from council members. Ward 1.
Thank you. I would like to recognize an intern, our new intern for the summer down at the rec complex. She has some exciting announcements to make for us. This is Danielle Hess.
My name is Danielle Hess. I'm an intern at the Easley Park and Recreation Department. I would like to invite you to our groundbreaking ceremony for the Brushy Creek Greenway Trail. It's going to be on Monday, June 19th at 4 p.m. The DIJ Wood Owens behind Field 2. There will be signs and the windows up pointing to where the ceremony will be held. As well as I'd like to do a little update about the farmers market. It's until September 30th. It's every Saturday, excluding July 1st. We are having a good outcome so far. We have about 20 to 30 vendors every Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 2.
Thank you, Danielle. Good evening, and it is always great to see neighbors here to participate in the democratic process. One thing that I didn't expect to have to do tonight was that I approached a front office staff member with a FOIA request and was told that she wasn't comfortable accepting it from me. So I'm going to be handing it to the clerk of court, and I'll need to find out what that new process is. Tonight, there are 3 agenda items, and the resurgence of Ordinance 3025 from 1977, in my opinion, is quite disturbing. We're blessed to live in the greatest country on earth with a Constitution providing protections for civil liberties and individual rights, one of which is freedom of speech. Therefore, I make a motion to hold this ordinance in abeyance for review and discussion by council.
Second that.
Are there any comments from council? Is anybody else disturbed about this?
No, ma'am, that's been on the books for a while.
From 1977, and it has not been enacted until recently, that there are people that work in this city that may live outside the county, they pay taxes, they shop in the stores, they purchase gas, and that is gas tax. Every building in this city that houses a city government office is paid by taxes, and it's not city taxes, it's federal taxes, it's state taxes, it is county taxes, and it's city taxes. And to keep our citizens, our neighbors, and our friends, and trying to silence them, this is an abomination, and it's a violation of their freedom of speech.
Amen. It's funny, you can find all the faults that we do, Denise, in the book that we haven't been doing. You find those and bring them out, but you don't find this one. Thank
I
you.
don't find which one.
You found a bunch of them that we messed up on. You brought those out, but this one's been in there and you won't bring this one up.
Well, that's because you haven't tried to enact it until now, until you didn't like hearing what the public was saying, and now you're trying to silence them.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. It is exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, then what? Then why? Why is this being enacted? It's a 46-year-old ordinance, and it's never been implemented in the last couple of years. And now you don't like what the people are coming here saying about the annexations, the developments, the violation of the land development regulations, the zoning ordinances, and then all of a sudden, I mean, no offense to our police department, because they're only doing what they're being told to do. This looks like a police state. We have people coming in here and they have to sign up at a table with 2 police officers. What happened to the book or the sheet that used to be on the dais there? So now they have to prove who they are. They have to prove they live here. Well, I hope you're enjoying your power,
Don't they
because
have-
that's what it is.
Don't they have to prove when they go vote where they live?
They have their
Yeah, they
This,
do.
they're not voting here tonight. This is a freedom of speech. This is not a voting issue. This is a freedom of speech.
Would you explain the state law to them?
Yes, sir.
The law's been in effect since 1977 that citizens of the city can address council. It doesn't provide the right for non-citizens. We've got to comply with the law. If the law needs to be changed, then the council certainly has a prerogative to change it.
Okay, I made a motion for an
I
abeyance.
don't want to finish my response, because
Yes.
the mayor asked me to respond if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right, I've researched this, I've talked to general counsel with municipal association, we are in compliance with the law. This ordinance and many of those like it around the state have been upheld by the federal courts many times. We are in compliance with the law, and by allowing citizens only, voters, to speak, we're complying with the law.
Okay. And that's fine, and certainly, then if you're going to enforce this ordinance, then you need to enforce every other ordinance, which is your land development.
County land, and we won't have to.
Point of order.
Then you need to enforce your land development ordinances, 2 entrances for 51 or more homes, which means some of these developments need to stop until that is modified. And then your zoning ordinances. You know, this is cherry picking because maybe it's been on the books, and I agree, but this council is the legislative body, and this legislative body could address this, and it would have been nice to have brought this out front for us to discuss publicly, except doing it behind closed doors, because I didn't know anything about it, and the agenda that I picked up on Thursday did not have that on there, but it certainly was posted online on Friday. I think it's a sad decision that this city, this mayor, would enforce this and to try and shut people up that might be one street that divides them. And that's what you're doing, you're dividing. This is our Constitution.
Okay, does anybody have a call for question?
Point of order, please. Can this motion be brought to the table?
Yes.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
And it's not in written form. Yeah, I think that would be a violation of the rules.
Of course, she don't care.
It's the second time.
And you're doing it as, ward reports, so it's
That's
not
right.
like.
Yeah.
It's the second time she's done that.
So, again,
Thank you for keeping score.
point of order,
I
please.
appreciate it.
You better believe.
I think
It needs to be on record
Point
then
of
that
order,
the council
please.
members
I think
aren't in favor of this.
I think it can be presented and then can be put on a future agenda if staff agrees. That's the protocol.
If staff agrees, we're council. We set the legislative agenda.
If you're enough in favor of doing that, then I think it can be put on the agenda at a future point.
Okay.
That is correct.
Ward 3,
No report.
Ward 4,
Nothing to report.
Ward 5.
I just want to, make a report that on June the 17th, we're having our first Juneteenth celebration. And we would appreciate if everyone just come out and do a report, have support. We're having it at the Old Market Square here in Easley. And that time is from 1 to 7.
Okay. Ward 6.
Mayor Womack, I would request and suggest that the city consider amending ordinance section 30- or .25, appearance of citizens, where it would include persons or entities who pay property taxes on real estate located in the city, or persons or entities who hold a current city business license, and if there are other additions. But I request that we review that.
Okay.
Mayor Womack, at the May City Council meeting, Janie Moore addressed City Council concerning the proposed annexation of property on Brown Drive. Ms. Moore said, "I know Robinson worked with the owner of the 96 acres on something else. I wonder if he is behind all of this." When an annexation or rezoning request comes before City Council, we are given copies of documents such as the petition for annexation, the plat of the property, the deed to the owner, and the planning commission minutes. As I do in every situation, I reviewed these documents when I received them. Catherine Sheriff Goshorn is the owner of the property proposed for annexation. Robinson Law Firm did not prepare the deed to Ms. Goshorn, and I did not recognize the grantor or the person who signed the name or the description of the property itself. I voted in favor of the annexation on first reading because, as I have stated before, it's my policy not to vote against an ordinance on first reading in order to give everyone, all interested parties, including council, time to consider the matter. After last month's meeting, I returned to my office and I researched the title for this property back to 1969. Robinson Law Firm did not prepare any of the deeds in this chain of title. I also looked at other legal documents on the Pickens County Register of Deeds website for a possible link between Ms. Goshorn and Robinson Law Firm. I looked for other documents such as deeds, powers of attorney, or deeds of distribution for an estate. I found no documents prepared for Ms. Goshorn by by Robinson Law Firm. The next day, I contacted Ms. Goshorn by email to ask her if Robinson Law Firm had ever provided legal service to her. Ms. Goshorn replied, "You have never represented me, and I have never done business in South Carolina." Before I made a public statement on this issue, I wanted confirmation of that statement from Ms. Goshorn herself. I asked her for her telephone number, she gave it to me, and I called her. In the conversation, Ms. Goshorn stated emphatically, she does not know me. And Robinson Law Firm has never provided legal services to her. I told Ms. Goshorn that I practiced law with my late father, Bill, who was admitted to the SC Bar in 1950. I asked Ms. Goshorn if Bill Robinson, Jim Robinson, or Robinson Law Firm had perhaps somewhere through the years provided legal services to her or her family. She replied, "No, you didn't." Apparently, to support her claim that Robinson Law Firm represents Ms. Goshorn, Janie Moore has produced a power of attorney prepared by Robinson Law Firm in 2001 for Catherine Vaughn Sheriff, who resided at 445 Bonita Drive, Easley. Catherine Vaughn Sheriff died in 2010. I spoke with Catherine Sheriff Goshorn last month. It's disturbing to me that what should be a discussion and a debate about an issue which is obviously very important to many people has been degraded to the point where someone is making false statements against me. As this matter progresses, I hope that we can all treat each other with respect and stick to the facts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Updates on city activity.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council, I'd like to turn it over to Crispin to introduce her guest to give us an update on the Senior League World Series.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Council. Before I do that, in my report this past month, you'll see we had a lot of camps, tournaments that are going on. I know Ms. Danielle mentioned about the groundbreaking for the Greenway and the Farmers Market, and Ms. Brazil mentioned about our Juneteenth event that's coming up this week. But I did want to just put out there the 4th of July event. You should start seeing that advertised now. It'll be the 2nd through the 4th. Our big headliner this year is Joe Nichols, so please come out and see us. We have the Air Dogs again this year, several different bands that will be playing throughout the 3 days. But again, go check our website out, go check Facebook out, and get the information on that. And I would like to turn it over to our World Series. I have 3 representatives from the World Series here today, so they're each going to stand up and tell a little bit about what that tournament is, because it is the 21st year of it being hosted in Easley. So, thanks.
Hi, Council. Thank you for having us down. So I'm Kimber Nelson, the Tournament Director of the Senior League Baseball World Series. As stated before, this is our 21st year of being back in Easley. So excited. We did have the 2 years off, but we won't talk about coming to represent that country. And then Asia Pacific will be a team from New Zealand this year. I literally just sent them an email, so it's kind of cool emailing someone, far ahead in advance for us in the times. And so we have Fan Fest, July 28th. We also have the host team being announced this week. I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, let her talk a little bit about Fan Fest, and I hope to see y'all here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamie Charles. I do the marketing for the Senior League Baseball World Series, and like she said, we're super excited that they want to come back, and they enjoy working with the city of Easley so much, and they love how beautiful all of our parks are and everything. They sent over a little note, and they just said that Little League International appreciates how long of a relationship that they've had with the city, and they look forward to another exciting Senior League Baseball World Series this summer, and they appreciate all the support from the city and the city council. So that's a thank you from Williamsport. So it's great that we're called out there too. Like she said, baseball is the 29th, or July 29th to August 5th. All games are on ESPN+, but a huge kickoff is going to be on the 28th. We would love to have council there and our mayor and everybody to come and help us lead off the parade. You'll get more information about that soon. There'll be a parade of teams. We'll introduce all the teams and have all of their locations of where they're from. It'll start at 6:30, and then after the parade of teams, we'll have Easley Burns coming to sing and put on a little concert for us. So it's fun to have a local singer for us this year. But we're really excited. We hope to see you all out there, and we'll see you in July with baseball. And I'm going to turn it over because we are going to have the host team announce this coming week. So Kelly Osteen.
Good evening. I am just going to tell just a little bit about myself. We have the Senior League World Series I guess, perspective, and then I'm going to bring it home to Easley and what it means for me. So I currently serve on the board of directors for Easley Little League as the secretary and treasurer. I also am on the Senior League World Series committee as the volunteer coordinator, and I am a licensed realtor and executive assistant to Cindy Fox Miller with Cindy Fox Miller and Associates. As a representative of the South Carolina District 1 host team, I am an active member of our community. I am passionate about community involvement and growth. So this year for 2023, I'm excited to announce that our team has player representation from various high schools, including Easley, Daniel, Liberty, Seneca, Walhalla, Wren, Powdersville, and Pendleton. To foster stronger relationships with these schools, we are providing passes to each head coach and athletic director this year, inviting them to witness the tournament firsthand to generate enthusiasm so that they will encourage their players to get involved in the future. The impact of this tournament goes far beyond the confines of our city. Families, friends, fans, and school staff from Pickens County, Oconee County, and Anderson County will be flocking to Easley to witness this showdown. With their arrival, we can expect an influx of visitors spending money in our city, benefiting local businesses and our economy as a whole. To kick off this exciting event, our team will parade from the J.D. Red Owens Complex to Hendrick Condo this Thursday for the Meet the Team event. It will start at 6:30. We would be honored to have your support and attendance at this event. Your presence will not only show your commitment to our community, but also inspire our young athletes as they embark on this incredible journey. In conclusion, I would like to thank you all for your time and consideration. The Senior League World Series tournament presents a unique opportunity for Easley to showcase its spirit, hospitality, and community engagement. Let's join together in celebrating our young athletes and the power that sports have to bring us all together. Let's play ball. Thank you.
Team. Thank y'all. Item 7, citizens wishing to address city council.
Deborah Steele.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak for a couple of minutes. My name is Deb Staley. I am a realtor with Southern Real Estate and Development. My address is 201 Rampey Street. As a realtor, I see firsthand the lack of housing we have in Easley to accommodate our growth. I help many families each year when they are looking for a home. They move here for a lot of reasons. The most common reason is jobs. And for some families, they are moving home after being away. And many already live in the area, not just in Easley. All of them have been surprised by how few housing choices they have and how expensive a home is here in Easley. That is why I want to thank you for your efforts to balance our city's history and culture with making sure those who are moving here have the same opportunities that the rest of us had when we moved here and bought our homes. One last thing, the realtors in our community have the expertise to help guide our city's growth and development. Some of them have volunteered their time to help with that by serving on our planning commission, zoning board, and other communities. I want to thank them for giving their time and talent to our city. I encourage you to thank them as well. How many in here are realtors tonight? Can you please stand? Is there anyone that disagrees with anything that I said?
Yes.
Okay. Any of the realtors that disagree?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate you for listening, but we do need to balance our community because you know as well as I do, the housing market is very, very slim. Our inventory, it is, and especially in this area. Thank you for your time.
Thomas McCabe?
Good evening, Board. I'm Thomas McCabe. I am Vice President of the Board of Directors at Foothills Playhouse. We had a history-making weekend 2 weekends ago when we did Peter Pan by our youth board. We sold out every show before we even opened, which I think they did a fantastic job. Also, we have done 15 shows this year. 12 of them have been complete sellouts, and the other 3 have been at 80%. We are in the process of looking at our season for next year. We have been 74 plays have been submitted to us to choose 6 plays for next year. So our board has a hard decision to do, but I'd like to thank y'all for all y'all do for the Foothills Playhouse.
No, I'm drunk. No, I don't drink. I have got to stop saying that because I don't even drink. You needed a laugh. You got it. Well, here's another one. I couldn't print this afternoon because my printer died. So I'm going to have to read it from my phone. But you'll be happy to know that the first part of this was taken away by somebody in here talking about freedom of speech. But another subject that I had was to ask you all if you had received this postcard like this in the mail over the past couple of weeks. Did you read it? You did? Let me read part of it to you. Easley is a popular new place to live, and the town is growing rapidly. We know that. As a result, the demand for housing is high. The town is working to address this issue by developing new housing options, including affordable housing options for middle and working class people and their families. That's a comment from Greenville Chamber of Commerce. The flyer, do you know where it's from? Columbia, Realtors in Columbia. So, wait a minute. I would like to say thanks to the development of what? 4,000 new homes in Easley, or houses, or apartments, or whatever. They have created a new problem for us They want people to live here. When's the last time you had, or we had, a business come new to our town? They want a bedroom community in Easley, and that's what they're getting. But this little situation is causing us to have problems where all of our trees are cut down on these areas. They sell the lumber, they sell the topsoil, and then they bring in this beautiful red mud, which some of you can attest that is a disaster area for your homes. And you're destroying our forests, our oxygen supply. Think about it. No trees, no oxygen. You are destroying our wildlife, just only to name a few problems. But eventually it's going to destroy you, and easily. I showed you that postcard. Now I want to show you something else, which I think is the reason that most people want this, and this is my opinion. Thank you for listening.
Nancy Mulhany.
Good evening, and council and mayor, thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here on behalf of the annexation of the property on Brown Road and Sheriff Mill. And part of it is in Anderson County. I ride Sheffield Road Sheriff Mill Road 4 to 6 times a week. It's a very narrow road, some bends, angles, and not to mention the ditches alongside the road. If you were having to pull off that road, it would be very dangerous. We already had 2 school buses have an accident on that road recently, in case you hadn't heard about that. And you're proposing hundreds of new homes down here without consideration of transportation. Now you say people who don't live in the city of Easley can't come and speak when you're talking about property that's going to surround them. But the county's allowed to go outside the city, or the city's allowed to go outside the city and annex property, both from Pickens County and from Anderson. I don't understand that. That's kind of confusing to me. How do you do that? So you're going to annex this property in, and you're going to ruin the lives of the people that live out there and their livelihood, possibly. What nerve you have. Really. Now, I live here in the city, and last month when all those people spoke from that area, I gave up my time so they could speak. And I think I would do that again if I had to. I don't see how you can stop people, and there's a big annexation going on off of Linhart Road. What about those people? Are they not going to be allowed to speak? I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Oh, I forgot. Why don't you do something about those roads, widening them? You know, and put a shoulder on them. Right now, if somebody had a fire in their home off one of those roads, my road in particular, and I live off Rushy Creek Road, the fire engines couldn't get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it took me 10 minutes to get out of my subdivision tonight at 6:30. Now, thank you. I forgot, that's not your road, it's a county road, and the money comes from the state. Well, I'll be glad to give up my time next time to anybody else that would like to speak too, but I would like you to reconsider that annexation.
My name is Rick Tate. I live over on Woodfield Drive, just off 135. Probably a few of you know me. I've been involved knee-deep in politics in Pickens County for the better part of the last decade. I was Pickens County GOP chairman, elected 3 times. I currently serve as the chairman of the Public Service Commission here in Pickens County. I had the honor of being appointed to the Governor's Advisory Board on Aging by Government Master. And I say all that just to say that I'm no stranger to politics, and I'm no stranger to, and I've actually run for office around here a couple of times. Pat and I competed the last time. Very friendly competition. I'm no stranger to political fights, differences of opinion, people arguing. Me and Neil Collins went at each other a couple of times, and we didn't always agree, but we were always civil with one another, or I thought we were. But I came tonight to, and that being said, I came here tonight to voice my concern over this enforcement of this ordinance to stop people from outside the city to speak. If you follow the logic here, if you own a business in Easley, but you live outside the city limits, you can't speak. If you own property within the city, but you don't live in the city, you can't speak. If at any level of government, if any level of government is taking action that directly affects you, under the Constitution, you have the right to petition the government to redress your grievance. I recently witnessed a Councilman, David, being sworn in. And part of the oath, and I'm sure you all took it, is to uphold the Constitution of the United States as well as the state constitution. The Constitution says Congress shall pass no law abridging the freedom of speech. Now, I'm no constitutional expert or scholar, but I can read. And even if this is not a direct violation, and I think it is, of First Amendment rights, it is absolutely a violation of the spirit of our founders and of our Constitution. If you're doing something that affects me directly, you're going to add traffic to my street, you're going to put more kids in school with my kids, I've got a right to speak at any level of government. The answer to speech that you don't like or would rather not hear is more speech. You stand up and you speak against what you're against. The town square belongs to all of us, and this is our town square. If somebody was coming up here from Charleston wanting to speak about it, you might have a leg to stand on. But when you're doing something directly across the street from me that's going to affect my life, I should have the constitutional right and privilege to come and speak. And I don't mean this directly at anybody, I'm just saying in general, anybody that can't handle that, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. And with that, God bless you, and I hope you have a good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Womack, Council. I've never been to City Council before. I've never felt the need to. I have the utmost respect for you. Several of you I've known for a large part of my life. Think the world of you. I'm disappointed. As many people have spoken about non-citizens not being allowed to speak. I will point out that the ordinance does not explicitly state that non-citizens are prohibited from speaking. There's wiggle room there. You could use it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just feel that these voices need to be heard. When this ordinance was put into place in the 70s, Easley didn't have the sprawl that it has now. There's a lot more sprawl. There's a lot more people. They deserve to be heard because the decisions that you make as the council affect them on every level, from their children's education to the safety driving to and from work, from their actual jobs, from having adequate utilities, from having adequate law enforcement, EMS. We've got to be responsible. And I think not allowing people to speak who, despite not living in the city, are still stakeholders, that's irresponsible of you. I'm disappointed. Concerns have been expressed over and over about crowded schools, traffic congestion. If you're not believing the traffic congestion, I advise you to try and travel from Getty's Middle School to Easley High School at numerous times during the day. It's a nightmare. We school choiced to East End so that we wouldn't have to deal with West End traffic. I love my town. I love living here. I've lived here my whole life, every last minute except for college. I've always been proud of my city. But right now, I'm just questioning what's going on. Our democratic republic, that's our form of government. Many people say democracy, but it's actually a democratic republic. It flourishes when citizens participate, when our representatives listen. Many of you listen wonderfully. Thank you. But let's listen even more. It can never hurt you to listen. Not one person that I've talked to recently has been like, oh man, I think all these new developments are wonderful. Because they're not. I know people that have been in the construction industry for years, and some of these houses that have been built, they're literally disposable homes. They're not going to last as quality homes for more than 10 years. And that was actually told by one of the builders. I don't understand. I know there has been lots of encouraging work. Having lived in Easley my entire life, I love my city. Growth is necessary and can be good when done responsibly and with proper planning. Our city won't be such a desirable place for people to live and move to if the council and the city administrators do not step up. Please step up. I know you can. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Alma Ferguson at 241 Baker Court in Easley. And I guess all the council members know why I am here. I am here talking about the congestion at the intersection of Canaan Drive, Glenwood Road, and Olive Street. If you ever travel that road, you know what I'm talking about. I've lived in the Canaan subdivision over 50 years and saw as many mayors as in my lifetime that has been here easily. Nothing has been done to our neighborhood or that intersection. It's always, we gonna get it. We gonna get it done. We gonna do this and we gonna do that. But when? We were told that in 2023, that was going to be one of the first priorities, was that intersection. And I have not been able to come to the council meeting in about 3 months. So I'm here tonight to see what has been done. I haven't seen anything. Now, the only thing that has been done on that Glenwood Road is that do not block driveway. That has helped, but that didn't help the intersection up there if they always stop. And I travel, that's the only way I get out is through that way. And I just sit there, because if I put my blinker on, if I'm coming up and I turn to go into Canaan, like drive, why they think I'm going straight. And next thing I know, here they come, bailing out. And I just stop. So something needs to be done before something bad happens. And let's don't let that be a fatality before we do anything. Thank you so much for listening patiently, I hope.
Item 8, unfinished business. Ordinance second readings. Second reading of ordinance 2023-04 provide for the adoption of the city annual operating budget. I hear a motion.
Motion bring to the floor.
Second.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. Before you is the second reading of the 2023-2024 budget. It is a balanced budget. The total budget is $25,739,334. It does include a 3 mil increase. It does include a 4% cost of living for 188 employees. It includes a new firefighter, includes a new rec employee, includes a new fire truck that is being paid for and not financed. It includes a new garbage truck. Includes $254,000 for the implementation of the class and comp study, should it take that. It was approved at the May meeting last month for first reading, and I come to you tonight for second reading.
Well, things sound silent. I'll call the question.
I have some questions.
Oh,
Are we
she
going to have
had-
a discussion? Well, I'm sorry I didn't hear that, so I do have some questions. Could you please detail what is being set aside in the contingency fund? Because that's been increased by $600,000.
The contingency fund,
Yes, the contingency fund.
I can't not off the top of my head. Go ahead.
It's not a fund, it's the contingency line item that we talked about last month. It's got the money for the class and comp, the remainder of the ARPA money that's already been appropriated, and then
The gas money, fuel money. We talked about that last month.
Okay, so it's ARPA funds, and those ARPA funds, last month we were told was about $300,000. That's what's left in it?
This is some ARPA funds for stuff that was already, that's in the
Okay, so
last
ARPA
year's
funds,
capital.
because it's $800,000. So, and what are the other items in there?
the class and comp.
Okay, and that's 200,000?
250,
254.
254.
Okay, and what else?
It's the fuel contingency, and then it's also the money set aside. If the budget passes, that's what the total funds will be.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, in April of this year, a memo was sent out to council to consider a pay raise for council mayor, elected officials. The raise is approximately 38% over our current compensation, which will add $30,000 to the budget. First, is this going to come up for a vote before the election in November? Is this
Denise,
being considered?
For the third time, you and I have talked about this. That is not even in the budget.
So
It never was, wait a minute. It never was in the budget.
Okay,
It was talked about. That don't make it gospel, because some council members talked about
I'm
it.
just asking, are
Let me
we going to
finish,
have
please.
it?
Let me finish, please.
Mhm.
We talked about it. A council member asked me to do a quick little study to see where we is at, and everybody seemed to be happy where we is at. At no point whatsoever during this budget process was it put in the budget.
Okay, so the question is this going to come up after this budget is approved before the election in November?
I can't help what y'all bring up, no.
Well, if
But
it's,
it's not
so if
in the
it's not
budget.
in the budget,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. That is
So if
correct.
it's not in the budget, then we cannot vote on something like that between now and November, correct?
Council can vote on whatever,
Okay.
if they do that, yes. I mean, you're trying to cause chaos here.
No, I'm not. I'm
You know,
asking a
it's never
question.
been in the budget, and you know it hadn't been in the budget. You know it.
I'm asking a question. Okay. Now, all right, so I have a question that you can answer, I believe. Where is the 2022 Tahoe coded? What department is it coded in? The mayor's Tahoe. I have been asking since March. And back in January, the balance for that account, which was the miscellaneous expense for city council, the balance was $9,800, which exceeded the budget amount for that category. Now the balance for that account shows that it's $6,600, so $3,100 has been transferred. Can you answer the question, which account that car is coded.
The account went back to the account that it should have been. A previous employee was taken out of the wrong account. It comes out of the police
Okay.
account.
So it's a police car.
It comes out of the police account.
So it's a police car.
It's a City of Easley car.
It's a City of Easley car that's coded to the police department
That is
that's
correct.
driven by the mayor.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. On ARPA, on the ARPA monies, on the ARPA memos, there are varying amounts for closing out the disadvantaged loan program. Who was responsible for overseeing that disadvantaged loan program?
Who was,
Is there an employee or a department? Who was
so those
responsible?
employees been through several employees, and then there was none. It was kind of a part-time thing.
Okay.
In that way, when we closed it out, after council voted for that. it was
Council
closed-
voted for what?
To close out that account, to call the loans even. Council voted on that. I will have you a piece of paper that says that. I told you I'd have
No,
it in your
I
box.
know you
Wait a
did.
minute, please.
Go ahead.
You wrote me a email the other day asking for some stuff, and I told you I'd have it to you this week, and that was one of the questions. And it will be in your box this week.
Okay. Because at the meeting earlier this year, you told me that the account was closed out, right? And that account is completely closed out.
The CDA does not exist anymore.
Okay. So right after that, I filed a FOIA. I think you remember me filing a FOIA
Which
for
one?
that. I don't know, there've been quite a few. You know, since my access has been revoked and y'all don't answer my memos.
That's right.
And you don't answer my FOIAs.
No, we do
so
answer
this
your
is
FOIAs.
about-
Well, whoa.
No, because
We
I've
do answer your
attached, no,
FOIAs.
because I've attached a FOIA to some memos and y'all won't answer
that's
them.
not a FOIA. Go
But
ahead.
that's another issue. So I've requested and FOIA'd the information for the CDF. And it shows, as I requested, from July 1st, 2020 to February 21st, 2023. And I'm not an accountant, but I gave it to someone who is. And it reads, the person said, there is a cash fund in this account of $181,000. They see no evidence that the COVID relief funds came into that account, and they don't see where any loans were paid off on that account. So I'm trying to figure out where this $718,000 is that supposedly was paid off on these loans, because it didn't go through this account.
You went into the general fund and them loans, that's just numbers written there. They don't exist anymore. The loans was called even. That's what council voted on.
I understand what council voted on, but you have to show postings in a general ledger where these accounts were, because where you read 632 loan write-offs, there are no loan write-offs. And there were $718,000 worth of loan write-offs according to information. But this shows a balance of $20,000 on it, on an account that I was told it was closed, and this is dated through 2023. So I guess it kind of gives you an idea of, there's some concerns about the budget. I have. Maybe nobody else does, but I do. Those are my only questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Here we have a call for the question.
Call the question.
All in favor of this item, raise your right hand. Any opposed? We have no new business. Any first readings? Item 10 is new resolutions. Resolution 2023-05 to adopt a Pickens County multi-jurisdictional hazardous mitigation plan. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Second.
Second. Nancy.
Mayor, so what we bring to you tonight is a resolution Two, it's a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan put together by Pickens County and all the cities and towns inside Pickens County. And what this mitigation plan does is to prepare staff of all the cities and counties, and county and cities and towns, to identify some of the high risks, such as floods, tornadoes, wildfires, ice, snowstorms, many others, train wrecks or what have you. And we look at them and come up with who's got what, who needs what. It's a very, very, comprehensive plan. It's about 560-something pages. But it does involve all of Pickens County and all the cities and towns in Pickens County. And so should we have a severe ice storm or snowstorm, the fire and police departments can go to that plan and see who can do what, who can help us, who's got dump trucks, who's got bulldozers, who's got all that. So it's a good working plan for our emergency services. We come to you tonight for this resolution to, once signed, we'll have to get it back to Pickens County, and then we will become partners with them.
Any question?
Call the question.
Call for a question. All in favor of this, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Item B, Resolution 2023-06, to appoint Jennifer Gilstrap to a 2-year term as municipal recorder. Do I hear a motion?
Motion brings to the floor.
I'll second.
Second. Did I hear a second?
I
Second.
said I would second, yes.
Okay. I'll turn it over to the judge. He wants to speak on that for 1 second.
Mr. Mayor, Council, it's my honor to present Jennifer Gilstrap as our newest employee. She's been employed with the city for several years. She's transferred from the police department to the court, taken over the job as court liaison. Part of that duties serves as a municipal recorder, which is a person who is able to issue arrest warrants based on probable cause, issue search warrants based on probable cause, sign and do bond hearings for defendants who have been incarcerated. As part of her duties, I'm honored to have her here. She's become a mainstay for our office, and I recommend that you appoint her for 2-year term.
Thank you. And if she is approved, she will be sworn in within the next day or two to serve our city. Do I hear a motion? I call for a question. Sorry. All in favor of this resolution, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you.